What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Bro Schmo, just in case you did not know. So we're going over the receivers in the 2020 NFL Draft. I'm giving you a top 20. Typically about 30 some receivers are drafted in the NFL. At least that's the average over the last 5 seasons. And I have 41 guys with draftable grades, but I'm giving you only my top 20. I like to leave a little to the imagination. But go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. It really helps out the channel a lot, and I really do appreciate it. Like I always say, much appreciated, much obliged. Let me know if you know what that's from. You probably do. But a lot of content coming to the channel this month, being draft season. We are literally at the apex of draft fever. So I got a bunch of team-specific mock drafts. I got all these rankings. Have the free agent video out soon enough. If it's not already out, I'll probably be working on it tonight. I'm just trying to get the overlays taken care of. That takes a little time. But yeah, I'm doing a watch party. So if you want to come hang out here on the YouTube, we can watch the draft together. Just me and you. Maybe kick back a cold one. I don't know. Let's talk about pitter patter. Let's skedatter. Let me know if you know where that's from. Let's get on to the list. I'm starting with 20, and we're going to talk about one of my favorite prospects, Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's a lie. I'm about to just cut him out from his knees. He's got good, there's a lot to like about him. He's got good size at 6'2", 212. Much of his to me, he's overhyped. He's an overhyped prospect. I don't know if that's from being a former 5-star or I just don't know. A lot of people have him as this day 2 guy. I just don't see it. I mean, I can see it from all his physical tools, but not from a production perspective. He was consistently plagued by drops. He struggled after the catch, especially in small areas, so he's never going to be a screen guy. He's struggled to separate. I mean, he might be a chain mover at best, but he struggles to separate in the intermediate level, which is where most passes take place in the NFL. So you better be good at the intermediate level. But he can create separation on posts and goes. Like I said, might have the size, he might have the tools, but that lack of production to me makes him at best an early day 3 prospect. Lynn Bowden out of Kentucky, man, very interesting prospect. Much of his production last year was kind of, I guess it was kind of gimmicked. Just given the situation at Kentucky, especially when they were put into the last 2 games, they had no quarterback. They threw Lynn Bowden himself back there, and he just was phenomenal. He's still a bit raw as a route runner. I'm sure those, especially that bowl game where he could have went out and been tested against 2 of the best corners in the country. It would have been nice to see that, but he was robbed of that opportunity because he was too busy winning the game at quarterback. So, like I said, a lot of that stuff was gimmicked, but he's just explosive. He's a playmaker with the ball in his hands. But, yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea at 5'11", 204 to convert him to running back. I mean, again, like I said, he's still a bit raw as a route runner, but it's not like he can't catch the football. It's not like he has a bad route tree, you know? So I think there's a lot more value with putting him in the backfield at points. You could maybe use him like a James White and kind of motion him outside or even throw him in the slot. I just like that type of versatility from him. Van Jefferson out of Florida, Senior Bowl really helped Jefferson out immensely. I kind of assumed he was going to be drafted late day 3. Just thought he was a special teams guy. That's it. But he showed to be a tremendous route runner. Doesn't really offer, though, much after the catch. Really struggles against more physical defenders. But he did demonstrate the ability to be reliable on the short to intermediate targets, to be a chain mover. And again, this guy he's got runaway speed. So if you shoot him on a vertical, might not be a bad idea. But that would also ask him to be better at the contested catch if he can't pull away. So there's a lot of things to like about Van Jefferson. And I could definitely see him in this day 2 area. Then Jawan Jennings, man, he's not great at getting off the line of scrimmage, so I don't think he'll play on the outside. He might be a slot only early in his career, but when the ball's in his hands, he's a playmaker. He's a football player, great at making tacklers miss. He led college football last season in broken tackles among the receivers. Very, like I said, very good after the catch, but this is what might push him into day 3 territory for teams is 4.27 40. That was just ugly. I knew he was going to run fast, but 4.7, man, that really hurts. I would still be willing to take a shot on him in the 3rd round, but he could fall to like maybe the 4th or even 5th round. Devin Duvernay out of Texas, he doesn't have speed issues. This boy is fast. He's got great speed. He can win downfield or even after the catch. His yards after catch are ridiculous. Very few drops. However, you can tell he's still developing as a route runner, and he is only truly able to run a handful of routes. Like I said, limited route tree. 42 of his 106 catches last season. Wow. Were designed screenplays, which is a bit worrisome. But like I said, his yards after the catch are just ridiculous. You could start this guy in the slot, develop him from there. He's been building up, getting a lot of hype last few weeks, at least since the combine. So I do expect him to slip into, or yeah, to sneak into day 2. And then on to 15, we got John Hightower out of Boise State. This guy, he will really only have one role early in his career, and that's just to blow the top off of defenses. Great acceleration. He won against press at the line of scrimmage consistently last season. Granted, it was the Mountain West, but like I said, great acceleration. He'll take some time to develop a much larger route tree. Again, needs a little refinement as a route runner, but yeah, this guy, I think he's gonna slip to day 3 because I don't see a lot of people talking about him, which kind of blows my mind. I think it might be because his frame's a little slight. Again, the limited route tree, the competition he faced again wasn't the greatest, but he's gonna be a steal if he does slip to round 3 or day 3, excuse me. Then we got KJ Hill out of Ohio State. For the Senior Bowl, this guy, he had a reputation of a slot-only receiver. I was even saying that. Not like I know anything, right? But that's because that's all Ohio State used him as. He was literally the Paris Campbell there. And I thought that was probably going to be what he most likely translated to at the next level. But during that week at Mobile, man, it turned out what I thought about Hill. Wasn't at all accurate, or at least it wasn't completely accurate. He looked comfortable on the outside because in those one-on-ones you face press coverage essentially, and he was really good. You saw a complete route tree from him, which was very comforted, I guess. It was very comforted. You know, this guy can actually run any route you ask him to, but I mean, he was just smooth, crisp. Again, not the fastest guy in here, but very quick. You don't need him to be blazing speed. I still think ideally he's probably better in the slot. It's the role he played the most at Ohio State. He's going to be most comfortable on that. But it's nice to know that you can kick him on the outside if you want to. And then Chase Claypool. I still like the idea of Claypool converting to tight end. I'm just saying that. I don't see him winning on the outside, especially not at the line of scrimmage. He didn't look great at one-on-ones at the Senior Bowl. He struggled with separation, and he did that throughout his whole career in Notre Dame. And with a 6'4", 238 frame, I totally expected him to go to tight end. He went to the combine because I think he added like 8 pounds, and I was before the combine, and I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely gonna convert to tight end. Didn't sound like it. Blew up the combine, but again, he still isn't the same player on tape. Still struggles to separate. Despite his size, he's not the most physical receiver. I think it would be wise if he were to convert to tight end in a league that's so desperate to find the next Kittle or Travis Kelce. Claypool could take advantage of that. I think he's more of a Darren Waller type of tight end, but that's extremely valuable. I'm just going to assume any team that takes him, that's going to be what they're going to end up doing. Using me real quick. And KJ Hamler. Oh, coming in here at 12. Biggest knock on Hamler, it's his size, as you can tell, 5'9". He's super light at 178. And his last season, he dropped over 40% of his catchable targets. Stupid alarming. That's a huge red flag, but where he wins is when you get the ball into his hands. Got ridiculous speed and athleticism. And get a given moment, this guy can take it to the house. And that's just a question. Can you get the ball in his hands? But again, very explosive. He consistently separates. And I watched a few of, I guess, the interviews or the press conferences at the combine with him, and the guy comes off as very humble, very self-aware. He knows he has to get better ball skills, and you just gotta love guys that seem so coachable like that. That's a big plus. So I can see him definitely get it. He's definitely a second rounder, I think, at this point. And then Tyler Johnson. I love Tyler Johnson. He's like the black sheep of this whole receiving class. He was in the top 10 on yards per route. He can line up on the outside or the inside, no problem. Smooth route runner, and he has a beautiful release. Drops are a bit of a concern, but they kind of come in bulk. They're not like your standard. He consistently has troubles dropping the ball. He'll have sure hands for like 3 or 4 games. Then he'll bust out a game where he drops like 4 or 5 balls. So it's like, where'd that came from? You know, so I don't think that's a death nail in his draft stock. It might be for some teams. It won't be for me. I mean, he's aware that's something he needs to work on. He was aware coming into the season that was something he needs to work on. And with it just popping up every, like I said, 4 or 5 games, it's not as concerning to me as some of the other things. What is concerning is the boy didn't run at the combine. And that's just going to lead most people to believe that he has no speed. A lot of people assumed, oh, he's probably going to be a 4.6, but like high 4.6. And I think he would have been definitely a second rounder for most people if he could get to that 4.5, but he didn't run, which leads you to believe maybe it's a 4.6, maybe it's a 4.7 like Juwan Jennings, who probably could slip to day 3. So, because teams love speed, you don't got speed. You see what I'm saying? Like, the same thing happened with Cam Phillips at the XFL. He wasn't that highly sought as a prospect, but still, the guy ran like I think it was like a 4.79, 4.78. What happened? He ended up in the XFL. The dude still has, as of now, has yet to sign with the team because speed is a concern. You need speed in today's NFL. So, again, I think even in early day 3, even if you get him late day 2, I think that's a steal. On to the top 10, Michael Pittman Jr., very physical receiver, and he's a much better separator than you would expect. He's great at the contested catch, and he's going to win underneath and on those intermediate routes. He came down with over 70% of his targets, and he's also a phenomenal blocker. Kind of reminds me a bit of Terry McLaurin with the potential upside of an Alshon Jeffrey, a healthy Alshon Jeffrey. But you gotta love this guy, especially because it's not like he doesn't have blow away speed. He's got adequate speed, but being so good at the contested catch, you almost don't worry about that so much. And then Laviska Shenault Jr. Really, you can find no better athlete in the draft. The dude's 6'1", 227 pounds, and he's built more like a running back. He's great after the catch, and he had the most broken tackles of any receiver over the past 2 seasons. What really is hurting his stock is a lack of experience on the outside. They run him in a slot a lot. Gets gimmicked a lot too. And he has quite an extensive injury history over the last 2 seasons. I mean, shoot, the combine, or at least after the combine, he had surgery for some type of core injury. So that's gonna shoot him, I think, down to the very least the second round. He still may go late first round, but I think most likely he's gonna be a second rounder because his speed on top of that is 40. It was 4.58, which not great. You'd expect more. But at the same time, he was dealing with the core injury, so I don't know. There's a lot to take in, a lot of question marks, a lot of concerns. But I mean, if he goes in the second round, make no mistake, he has scary potential and could be a very good steal if he falls and stays healthy. So let's move on to because I got 8 receivers with first round grades here. I'm gonna start with Justin Jefferson, and I don't know if for me, because this is gonna be a lot of people are gonna have him a lot higher. I'm not. I don't know if Justin Jefferson can play on the outside. He played almost exclusively in the slot in 2019, and in 2018 he played on the outside, and it wasn't like he was terrible, but it wasn't great either. So, I mean, what is he now? I think where he wins, as we saw it in 2019, is the slot, where he isn't pressed at the line, where he's got those guys playing off coverage. He's good at finding holes in zones. He's very good at coming down with contested catches. I mean, you just go back to that Oklahoma game. I mean, he was coming down with contested catches left and right. And I mean, teams that favor those bigger slot receivers will love him, but after the combine, he came in, he added some weight. He looked like an outside receiver. It's very confusing. I don't know. I feel like now that I'm talking it out, I feel like I should have him a lot higher than I do. But, like right now, I'm thinking about if I should go back and change this. I don't know. There's just a big question mark. Will he be able to separate on the outside when he's pressed against the line? I don't know. It just concerns me. We haven't seen it. So it's just a bit of, I don't want to say it's a red flag. It's an unknown. But Brandon Ayuk out of Arizona State. I almost did the Soldier Boy. Ayuk. Kind of dumb. Anyway, absurd after the catch. Let me tell you, he has a huge catch radius, 81-inch wingspan, and I believe he's a much better prospect than N'Keal Harry, who was drafted last season in the first round by the Patriots. I mean, he is essentially, you could say he's a one-year wonder, but I don't think that's really the case because Arizona State, in their offense in 2018, it was kind of tailor-made to feed N'Keal Harry the ball. So I wouldn't really hold that against him. I like that this year he played 90% of his snaps on the outside. Again, very explosive, big play threat anytime he touches the football. And I think he deserves some first round hype. He's probably going to go somewhere in the second round though. Then Denzel Mims, man. What we know about Mims before the Senior Bowl, because it was the Senior Bowl where the hype began, was just the dude can win downfield. He can win on the contested catches. He's very explosive. And I mean, you could see that in the bowl game versus Georgia, where the guy had to fight past borderline pass interference, because if you're not new to the channel, you know how I feel about that Georgia coverage. Real handsy. But I like it. At the Senior Bowl, he came in and he displayed a much more expanded route tree than what we initially thought. Great body control. I kind of already touched on. Very explosive. I definitely see this guy landing in the first round. And then on to the top 5. I still got T. Higgins here. I like T. Higgins. And he's probably gonna fall to late first, early second. We'll get to that in a second, but he's a prototypical X receiver, at least as far as his size. He also brings good speed to combine with that, or at least based on tape. He's got good speed. He outshined future first rounder, potential top 15 pick Justin Ross last season. What I love most is his ability to break tackles at the catch point. As he's getting caught, he's like, get off me, bro. I love that. He's got some decent separation too. He's not just a possession receiver. He really can be a downfield threat if you need him to. I think he's the total package at 6'4", 205. He's got Mike Williams-esque ball skills with Martavius Bryant's home run threat ability. And this is why he might fall. He willingly sat out the combine, because I had T. Higgins, I think, at 3 at some point, but he willingly sat out of the combine. And from what I've read, it sounds like, again, this is just what I read, so don't take it as truth. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on around the draft time, but it sounded like he rubbed people the wrong way because he, like I said, he willingly sat out. He was a healthy scratch for the combine. A lot of people didn't like that, from what I've read. So I still got him here. He'll probably find a place at the end of this first round. Then Jalen Reagor. I'm still high on some Jalen Reagor. I love Jalen Reagor. A lot of people like to knock Reagor because some will question his ability at the contested catch, which is fair. His small catch radius, which is like, okay, whatever. Especially in comparison to Ruggs. But no one, I think, even Ruggs included, Jerry Jeudy included, is a better separator than Jalen Reagor. If it wasn't for awful quarterback play at TCU, his numbers would have been much larger. I think if you put him in Henry Ruggs' role, where Ruggs, he played on the outside a lot for Bama, he would have had his numbers would have been much bigger than Ruggs, because Ruggs, he kind of ghosted some games. Yet I still have him above here. We'll get into him. But the amount of times he was just like Reagor was just completely missed by the quarterback is ridiculous. It's sad. And a lot of people want to move him down draft boards because he ran a slower 40 than expected. But that's because they thought he was going to be right up there with Ruggs. But he put up a 4.47, and that's with putting on 10 pounds still. So he put on weight, and he still ran a pretty fast 40. I still like me some Reagor. And then Henry Ruggs. Again, he's the fastest receiver in this draft, but he's also a very good route runner. And I said he would go some games, mainly the big games, but you could also say it's because the immense talent around him, that Bama, they spread the ball a lot in that offense. I mean, he played with Jerry Jeudy, with Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle. I mean, there was a lot of mouths to feed in that offense. But again, it's still a bit worrisome. Benefit of the doubt on that part, though. Not everyone is like, he's not Jeudy, he's not Lamb, but I think without a doubt he has done enough to make him the undisputed third receiver that should come off the board in this draft. And then we got C.D. Lamb. Lamb, he just screams big play potential. He's great after the catch. He ticks all the boxes you want to see from a prototypical number one on the outside in terms of how he plays. He's very good at the contested catch. He's great after the catch, like I said earlier, and he's good at using his body to create bigger windows for his quarterback. And he's not nearly as fast as a lot of the receivers in this class, but it's not like he's slow. He ran in the 4.5s. So again, he's my number 2. Jeudy is my number 1. While Lamb may be the most complete receiver, Judy's faster. He's a much better route runner than Lamb. I mean, he was primarily, this is the big thing, he was primarily used in the slot. As we've talked about with Justin Jefferson, it's a little alarming, but because you don't face that press coverage. You're just not tested at the line of scrimmage when you don't play on the outside in collegiate level. But you just love he's a home run threat. He just oozes big play potential. He could take it to the house on any given play. And he's really good at the contested catch as well. And I would say even more so than Justin Jefferson, or at least over a longer period of time. So I have him as my number 1. I like the flexibility, knowing that he played the slot a lot last year. But that's because Bama, they kind of use their players to their advantages. I mean, when you got so many receivers, you just kind of put them everywhere, I guess. But that's it for the video. Go ahead and do the YouTube thing. It's always much appreciated. Much obliged. Again, watch party April 23rd, I think, is the first day of the draft. Hope to see you there. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.